Well, good morning, Business 10 students. This is Mr.D, and this is week number 6 of our 16-week course in Introduction to Business here at Norco College. And this is a pretty simple and straightforward week. We're just going to be looking at Chapter 9 on Productions and Operations Management, which is really interesting. It gets into CAD, computer-aided drawing, and computer-aided manufacturing and some really interesting topics as we'll look at. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And I'm going to go ahead and go into our Module 2, which is where we're at now in Week 6. And come down here just to back up a little bit. In Week 5, we looked at Chapter 7, and we discussed the difference between leadership and management. And most of you did a great job on that assignment. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of similarities between the two, but there's also some distinct differences. And a lot of times people think, you have to be a leader, you have to be able to manage people, and to be a manager, you got to be able to lead. I would say, yes, for being a manager, you got to definitely have some leadership capabilities because you're usually dealing with people, and it would really make your job a lot easier. But being a leader, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to manage people. In fact, I've met, as I mentioned in my notes, some incredible leaders that were just horrible managers. They didn't deal with people well, but they had incredible vision, incredible ideas. So there's definitely a difference, and it's important for you to understand where your strengths lie, whether you're more of a manager, whether you're more of a leader, whether you have a good combination of both. So we talked about that. We also went over Chapter 7 on the topic of leadership. We also started our discussion post on the puzzle of motivation, which is one of the best TED Talks there is. Dan Pink is one of my favorite authors, and he deals with the topic of how are we truly motivated. And so I'm going to ask you to watch the TED Talk, answer a couple of questions, read and review and comment on a few other students' posts, and it's a great learning opportunity to do that. As we move into week number 6, which is this week, we're going to be once again doing a check-in assignment, answering some questions out of Chapter 9. There's a PowerPoint there for Chapter 9. There's also homework number 6, which is going to be describing a production process. So I'm going to be asking you to do that. It's a worksheet. I think I asked you to find a particular product. So there's some articles that explain a production process, and then you're basically going to answer these questions right here. So describe a process is what I want you to do. So and it's to kind of show that you understand how one thing leads to the next thing that leads to the next thing. You probably know that it was Henry Ford that was one of the first people to use first business to use a production line model where they were building multiple units at the same time in different stations. And so that's what I'm trying to get at with that homework assignment. So make sure you review that well, and it should be a lot of fun to kind of think through and figure out. And then, of course, you have your quiz for this week, which is also on Chapter 9, which is quiz number 5. And then that's it for this week, other than you continue to do the discussion post. So the good idea for the discussion post is to make sure you do your initial post by watching the video, answering the questions. And then over the next few weeks, you just want to view and comment on other students. And you must comment on at least 2 students' posts with about 50 words for you to get the chance at full credit. So make sure you do that. But that's pretty much it for week number 6. Like I said, it was not a whole lot to share this week, but keep up the good work. And we are coming up to the halfway point in our course here in about 2 more weeks. So we'll see you soon.